So in today's video, we'll understand some mistakes to avoid in data science. So the first mistake is when you present your findings in technical language. Now imagine your board of directors or top management are not familiar with the technical jargons and the technical terms, and you're using it. So what happens is that all your hard work goes into vain because they don't understand things. So it's better to keep your findings short, concise, and a simple layman language. Moving on to the next mistake to avoid is when you skip the fundamentals. What happens most of the time that teams often, jump to building neural network or machine learning models, but they don't clean the data, visualize it, or prepare graphs. So what happens is that when you follow sequential steps, that is when you plot the graph, when you visualize, you find the outliers, your model building becomes quite easy. Moving on to the next mistake to avoid is when you're working with small data sets. All right, so when you're not having enough data, this leads to poor fit of the model and you might not get the desired output. Data scientists often have to gather or collect relevant data from various sources. And this is one of the major challenges that data scientists face. And you have to be really creative in gathering the data from wherein you can find the sources to get the data. Well, the next mistake to avoid is when you're not conforming with the stakeholders. So what happens is that you have to collaborate with all the collaborators or with stakeholders to get the desired input so that you can give them the optimal result. And you have to consult with all the stakeholders involved to answer all the questions so that you give them what not you think is right, but what they want. All right, so now moving on to our next mistake to avoid is lack of documentation. So common problem is that we are so busy, we are always in a hurry that we do not document things. So once we document, it is really easy to track our progress, to figure out what we have done and to compare the results. And it also becomes easy for our team to understand what techniques have already been applied in that model and they can then improvise or change their techniques, right? And documentation really makes work more reproducible. So these are the common mistakes in data science. And if you think you have some more mistakes in mind, do share it in the comment section.